fairly quickly here, just thought that I would ask if you have any further assessments on sort of the state of the world. You know, based on the past year of developments, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on as usual with major developments in the Middle East and the Ebola situation, and as you look at things, then would you say that things have improved in any way in the past year, or what are the prospects for Earth in the coming decade?
I watch more polarizing than anything else, so it's like as it gets worse, it also gets better, and as it gets better, it also gets worse. So you find people on the planet today that are reaching higher and higher levels of consciousness, and great numbers of them, as opposed to previously. And simultaneously, to the paradoxical side, you're watching people slip into conflicts that are really approaching a phase of life which we could say is unparalleled on Earth yet. We're still a match to World War. So I would love to see us pull out of that one, but...
Bashar gave an interesting analogy in one of his videos. He talked about, like, imagine you're at a train station, and there are all these trains, leaving the station. And as they leave the station, going off in different directions, they're relatively close to each other, so assuming that they're going quite slowly at first. And so if you're on a train and then you realize it's the wrong train, you can still get off that train and hop on another train. But as things continue moving outwards, then it gets to where you're more committed to the track that you've chosen, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the way he describes it, at least, then that's just going to be accelerating over the next just few years.
Yep.
Do you think that, like, 5 years from now, life as we know it now is still going to be more or less the same, or do you see any kind of a very sharp change?
I'm surprised the very sharp change hasn't happened already, frankly. Well, as far as me looking at the life paths that are a match to Earth right now, I don't see our economy lasting 5 years for sure. And when you just look at that on a logical level, if our economy isn't going to last like it is for 5 years, then life itself is going to change, because everything is dependent upon the economy.
Yeah, that's definitely the one of the key issues. Not to mention, obviously the environment and everything, but in terms of what has the ability to majorly impact people's lives in a very quick way. I continue to watch various videos on the economy, and I'll just throw out there for anyone who is interested to see some information on this. Two guys, Greg Hunter and Fabian Calvo, have YouTube channels, and they do regular videos interviewing people and then sharing their own insights. And they're like, Fabian Calvo is a business insider, and just one after another, just people are saying, like, things are really on the verge, and the dollar is going to collapse, and people who are insiders and top level people who are saying that this can't really go on all that much longer.
Exactly.
A few years perhaps, but.
So what I like to tell people, and then people, of course, when we tell them that, they start panicking and like, how should I prepare for it? And the reality is that there's really not a super stable plan yet for dealing with the world and the state that it could get to pretty quickly. And so what I would tell people is that there are a few things which have always been true, which is really what we should put our stocks in again. And what that is that there's power and strength in numbers. So one of the reasons that I'm so interested in bringing these intentional communities around the world is because people in the single family home unit are not going to do so well during this change. People who actually have a group of support, and also a group of people who have different skill sets, are going to do much better. Also, what I want people to remember, because a lot of us in this country will lose all the money we have, because honestly, like, what are you going to do? Bury it in the backyard? Maybe some people will say yes, but if you don't have a real solid plan, and if there's not really a plan that's out there that's super awesome for how to maintain wealth, if wealth in and of itself becomes not valuable anymore, what you've got to remember is that skill set, which is something that nobody can take from you, is always valuable. So, like, let's look at a doctor. A doctor has a skill set. They know exactly how to help someone heal, on a physical level at least. And as long as that's the case, you can't really take that skill set from them, you know? So real stuff, basically, like a skill set or like something that you're good at, is always going to have worth. So if you take that from place to place, that's a solid guarantee that you're going to get abundance as a result of that trade. So those are the kinds of things that I encourage people to put their the real weight of their trust in, basically.
As well as building community.
Yeah.
And perhaps getting a garden going.
Yeah. Yeah, the food thing is definitely going to be a major issue. Like, even here I am in Park City, right? And it's, December, and you couldn't grow a pine cone, much less anything else. And in this particular, and that's in the summer. In the wintertime, you're not going to grow anything at all. So, yeah, people who are in places like this, if the dollar collapses, we're not going to be able to live here. Isn't that an uplifting thing?
Yep, but you gotta deal with reality and with the shadow, and I'm definitely not into just focus on the positive.
Me neither. But I don't have it's not like I'm getting a message yet. It's not like my guides usually within like 1 hour will be flipping out and saying you need to leave, and that's when I leave, right? But I'm not getting the message yet, which is why you haven't seen me like fleeing out of America or something. But the day very well could come where that's the message I get. And if I get that message, you can be damn sure I will tell everyone about it.
Good to know. We'll be keeping our ears open for sure. Yeah, just awareness and some sense of preparation. Recognizing the fact that we're dependent on the grocery store and whatnot, and that isn't necessarily a guarantee. And what can people do to get ready in some way?
Exactly. And what I also tell people is that, like, when we're really looking at something we're afraid of, we don't want to suffer, right? So what I encourage people to do in order to not suffer is, well, first of all, there's this idea basically that you have to worry about something in order to be aware of something, which is not true. So we can be aware of all the options without panicking about what's going to come, It's almost like saying, well, it's a potential that going down this river on this river rafting trip that I could run into rapids, or that we could get into a situation where there's a drop-off waterfall. I can be aware of that without panicking for 60 miles that might happen, And then, of course, you can prepare for the what-ifs, but not make your whole trip about the what-ifs. That's really what we need to do. And the people that I watch that are doing the very best through these types of serious world changes are the people who are actually okay to lose it all. The people who are almost literally ready to have the whole tower fall and to go back to square one and to like deal with what is left over. It's the people that try to keep the tower standing that end up suffering the worst.
And to not allow it to ruin your life in the moment of, being so focused on preparation for some disaster that you forget to just, be here now and make the most of what you got.
Exactly, which is why it's such an individual process. The idea of preparation has got to be so personal, because, like, let's say one person doing a stockpile of food in their basement might feel good, make them feel a sense of relief, and so they feel better, and so that's a good idea for them to do because it helps them release resistance. Whereas the next person doing that would make them feel even worse, and make them feel like it's more likely to happen and stress them out, so it would be not a good idea for that person. We just have to let go of the idea that there's one correct answer that's the right thing for everyone to do at this point in time on Earth, and that's what everyone has to do. Because we're not getting that message, and nobody agrees. Did you notice? It's like you listen to experts on what's going to happen in the world and how to prepare, and none of them agree with each other. So it's like...